think as much as we all want to do things that we enjoy the most, sometimes there just doesn't seem to be enough time. Honestly, really thought to myself, isn't that a really unfair feeling? You've got these desires, you want to do certain things. For some reason, you cannot just fit it in your day. And you assume to yourself, okay, maybe I'll free up this week, but I'll be busy next week. But then all of a sudden something comes up again. And once again, you have to avoid doing that one thing you wanted to do so bad. You might think it's a time management issue. That can be the case. But in my opinion, it can go deeper than that. My days were so busy, I didn't even know where to start. That's how bad it got. But I didn't want to sacrifice the things I wanted to do in life. The idea that the graveyard is filled with people who thought they're tomorrow is something that struck to me for a very long time. I always knew I didn't have a lot of time. So I always wanted to make every second count, every single time. And this is why I didn't sacrifice any of the things that I wanted to do, regardless of how impossible it sounded to fit all of these things into my day. But sometimes you don't have to go big. If you just start very small with consistent habits, you'll understand how easy it actually really is to fit the things that you enjoy the most into your daily schedule, whether they're productive or whether they're not productive. That's not really my issue here. This video is more about finding time to do the things that you enjoy doing, planning instead of executing. As much as we like to plan things out and staying organized with our planners and whatnot, if a certain task can save time by simply being executed as opposed to being planned, you might be better off just doing that. It kind of varies. You might tell yourself that I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to hit this certain exercise. Instead of planning and writing it down, why not just go and do that? Instead of thinking about planning this and when to do it and how to do it, why not just simply execute it in that moment if you can? And this, of course, applies to almost anything. If you have a simple errand to run, which takes less than 5 minutes, instead of thinking about it, simply execute it. It is important that you take action over planning if it's appropriate, of course. So if you're into this kind of psychology-based productivity, plus a bunch of practical tips to eliminate your procrastination, do consider subscribing to this channel because that's pretty much all I talk about on here. Starting too many things. Anybody that's been incredibly productive in their life and has achieved things through productivity will tell you that multitasking is absolutely yes. You might think you're saving time by starting multiple tasks at once, but you're doing the complete opposite. What you don't realize is that you're splitting your focus, which is then deteriorating your quality of work. If you're splitting two tasks and these two tasks require a certain amount of focus, do you not think that things will not go the way they're supposed to go? Let's say if I'm in uni and I'm working on an assignment and I'm also trying to check my charts, most likely both things are going to flop horribly. So it's important that I stick to one at a time and keep my brain focused. It really is like your browser. Doesn't your browser start to get a bit slower the more tabs you start to open up? It's the exact same thing. Your brain just slows down. You can't keep up and the quality heavily deteriorates. Context switching. This is something that also applies to your long-term goals. If you have a proven strategy of work and you know that it works, maybe not in the short term, but maybe in the long term, do your absolute best to be consistent in that form of work. Let's say if it's creating content and you're working with a particular niche, stick to that niche and work within that niche until you see some good numbers. Even if the first year doesn't work out, it's more important for you to be consistent with one thing than to continuously switch things and not actually build any rapport. This can then also kind of simmer down to your small habits. Stick to things that are simple, and if it works, then it works. Do not wait for motivation. If your productivity depends on how you feel on the day, you're going to miss out on a lot of virtue that you can only require through consistency, through being, of course, disciplined. I'm not just speaking for no reason. Discipline isn't just a way of how you feel. It can be based upon a system of work that you're following, which is aligned to do the work properly. And if you click on my previous video, I give you 4 different ways on how you can acquire 4 different kind of systems to stay consistent. So make sure you definitely check that out. Ending your day without closure. There is a concept called the Zeigarnik effect, which simply means that your brain doesn't enjoy the idea of work being unfinished. It hates unfinished loops. If a certain task can be finished on the day, try your best not to push it too far to the end of the day where you don't have a lot of time to finish it and it's going to be unfinished. Set aside a good amount of time and then work on it. And you can't be telling me you don't have a lot of time. If you show me your screen time and you've got more than 5 hours on you've got time. So this one's very simple. It simply means if you don't close your day in a proper way, your mind tends to keep spinning and this will affect your clarity, which then will affect your workload and your efficiency in general, which then will waste your time even more. Work based on metrics. Put aside a goal on what kind of metrics you want to work towards. This will help you to be consistent with the things that you want to do in life. It's kind of like saying if you work on a particular long thing or even a small thing, let's say going to the gym or just trying to be consistent with a certain project that you're working on. Write down certain metrics that you expect from this project. Like, let's say if you're doing content and you post in a video, you would say, I'm hoping to gain maybe 500 views out of this one video. And then if it doesn't work out in 2 days, I'm going to assess why that happened. Because it takes 2 days for your retention analytics to come in, essentially. Just a small goal, understanding why this happened, having that intention of when that metric can hit and how you can acquire this metric. This point is really just about using numbers, using figures to assess your consistency, because this helps you to be motivated. This helps you see real results, and we know that results boost motivation, discipline. All in all, these are 7 practical tips that you can try yourself, but I do want you to understand that this takes a form of consistency. It takes a form of motivation that I'm working on myself, something that I haven't mastered in any kind of way. What's most important about these points is that you try and see how they work out for you. And then if it was something that's positive and of benefit, then you can come back to it and carry on trying to be consistent with it. Not every single way of trying to be productive works for other people. It really depends on you. After we're all human and we don't really know what works for us best until we try it.